I have a lot of fear. I fear inadequacy, I fear failure, vulnerability, I fear becoming an outsider, I fear loss, I fear rejection, I fear disappointing people, I fear not being enough. Humans, we live out of fear quite often. Pretty much everybody deals with their own long list of fears. I'm Darcie. I am an artist, an influencer, and a recent college graduate. I am amazed and humbled to see how God has moved in my life so far. The places He has put me, the healing He has brought, the opportunities He has provided for growth. I always tell people that from the moment my little baby hands could pick up a pencil, I was an artist. I went through the same scribble on everything phase that most kids went through, and then I just kind of never stopped after that. I continued to draw. It was a huge passion of mine from day one. And I just think it's so awesome that God gave me this passion. This thought actually hit me not too long ago, but there's a verse in the Bible that says, God made man after His own image. And that verse really resonates with me because the Creator, the most amazing, prolific artist of all time, created me with a passion for art. And it's just like, whoa, that is a crazy honor to have been created by the Creator to be a creator. At the end of my freshman year in high school, I decided to start posting my art on Instagram. I thought it would just be an easy way to keep everything in one place whenever a family member, friend, or someone I just met asked to see my art. My Instagram following grew, and a year later I started a YouTube channel, and that following began to grow as well. And due to this exposure and growth, I realized that making a living as an artist was actually possible. During my senior year of high school, I still wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to major in. It's unfortunately a common belief that pursuing an art career is not financially stable, and that if you want to be an artist, you have to have a real job as well. And so most people with a passion for art decide to major in something else because they believe this. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Lots of people take that path and their life leads to wonderful things. I almost did that. In fact, I was thinking about being an occupational therapist. However, one conversation with a college recruiter changed my mind. This recruiter came all the way from Nebraska to my high school in Florida, and somehow he and I ended up in a conversation about my passion for art and about what career I was thinking about going into. And from what I can remember, he said something along the lines of, I think you should just major in art. And for some reason, from this guy who I barely knew, who was from a college I wasn't even planning on going to, that conversation was like the last little push I needed to decide to major in art. I mainly considered two colleges. One was Savannah College of Art and Design, and I even went so far as to apply to this school and to tour their campus. And while I was there, just completely surrounded by art and artists, it became somewhat of a dream school for me. The other school I was considering was Southern Adventist University, and there were also a lot of reasons for me to go to this school. First of all, it was my parents' alma mater. Many of my friends from high school were going there. It also had a really good art program. And the other reason that I had to go to Southern was that it was a campus full of people who had the same beliefs as I did. And I just felt that having a Christian community around me would be so beneficial. And so in the end, Southern won out as my choice of school. From day one at my time at Southern, I began taking videos and compiling them into vlogs that documented my college experience. I posted these on YouTube, and it became a very popular series of mine. And so because of this, my online audience continued to grow throughout college. I consider this one of the best things I've ever done because it is a visual record of how I have changed and grown and of how God has been working in my life. And I think the best way to show God to people is just by living your life in an honest and open way so that they can see Him living through you. And so I tried to do that, and I try to capture that in my videos. Those 4 years I spent at college were some of the most growth-filled years I have ever experienced. And even if you don't go to college, probably the same is true for that general phase of your life. It's just an opportunity for a lot of growth. I learned so much about myself, how to be independent, how to be more confident, how to go through and grow from hard experiences. And of course, as I was learning more about myself, I was also learning a lot more about God, and I had a lot of opportunity to grow closer to Him. I've always had a desire to follow God. I mean, Christianity was taught to me from a young age. But I guess for the majority of my childhood, I was more focused on what I needed to do. Like, what did I have to check off to get to heaven? What did I have to make sure I kept up with so that things between me and God remained in a good place? It took a long time to grow out of that mindset because I think that understanding just comes with maturity and getting to know God for yourself. One thing that really helped change my mindset was something I once read in a devotional. It said that your relationship with God is not a tightrope. You don't make progress, fall, and then have to start all over again. And I realized in that moment that I had been treating it like a tightrope. It was just this cycle. I would be having worship regularly, I would be feeling close to God, and then somewhere along the line, I would make a mistake, and I would just feel almost like I had broken some kind of spiritual streak, which sounds kind of stupid putting it that way. I just felt that I had let God down for like the billionth time. And because of this guilt, I was like, okay, if I've already messed up, I'm just going to stop trying. I'm so tired of trying. I would just get into this like rut of ignoring God, not really trying to spend time with Him. I just felt guilty and I didn't feel like I could. And then eventually I would finally be like, okay, I really need God right now. I would get back on the tightrope in my mind and do the same thing over and over and over again. And I learned that me trying so hard was the problem. The Bible says in Romans 3 that no one will be righteous in God's sight by works of the law. It's just not going to happen. But instead, righteousness is given through faith in Jesus to anyone who believes. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and all are justified freely by His grace. If you're anything like me, you may have glazed over a little bit as I said that, because this is a verse that we have heard our entire lives. You really don't understand the importance and the weight and the beauty of these verses until you actually get the chance to experience them and experience what they mean for yourself. I, of course, had known of this verse for a long time. I had been taught by parents, teachers, and pastors that you can't work for your salvation, and it only comes through faith in Jesus. This was something I knew my whole life. And so it surprised me to realize that that is exactly what I had been doing. I was trying to rely on my own strength and my own self-will to somehow form this relationship with Jesus and to be a good person. And guys, it's literally crazy how much we try to rely on ourselves, even when we're trying to follow Jesus, because He said to us in the Bible that apart from Him, we can do nothing. John 15 verse 5, He says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, then you will bear much fruit. You will bear fruit if you are working with Jesus, if you are letting Him work with you. But apart from me, apart from Jesus, you can do nothing. I'm going to read another verse for you. Hebrews 10 verse 14. For by one sacrifice He has made perfect forever those who are being made holy. If you didn't catch that, or if you need it repeated, if you glazed over, please go back and watch that section or go find it in the Bible yourself. Hebrews 10 verse 14. Because that is such beautiful news. Jesus sacrificed Himself for both of us. And He did this so that we could be completely clean from sin in His eyes. So what that means is God looks at us, and instead of seeing our sin, He sees Jesus' perfection because Jesus took our sin from us. He took those when he died on the cross, and he took them into the grave. And in exchange for that, he gave us his perfection. And so we are already perfect in his eyes. But now he is teaching us how to live in that holy freedom that he bought for us. Our state of salvation does not rest on our heads. And I can say as many words as I want to, but I know that someone is not going to fully understand that. And I don't blame you, because I was taught this same thing for my whole life. Jesus died on the cross for me to be saved. This was something I grew up with. But sometimes people just don't understand these things fully until they've lived them. And I know for a fact that I am going to be learning about the depth of Jesus' love for me for my entire life. College definitely gave me a really good chance to pursue Jesus for myself, because I was out of my house, away from my Christian family, which was a huge blessing to me, but it's always needed to find your footing on your own. And so through all the time I spent reading the words of other Christians, talking with students and friends, learning different perspectives as well, making mistakes, suffering heartbreaks, experiencing failures, through all of this, I left the door open for Jesus to teach me who he was. And he came through, and change didn't happen all at once. But as I look back now, I can see change that came slowly but surely. I cherish all the moments that I experienced in college, all the moments before and since then as well, because every single moment has formed me little by little into who I am today. And every moment, every experience has also shaped my relationship with God and where it exists today. So those fears I mentioned at the beginning, they still exist. I still feel them occasionally, attacking my mind and sending me into a spiral, but I'm very happy to say that they are getting weaker and weaker, and I'm becoming more and more confident in God, in the fact that he claims me and he gives me power to do things that I could never do on my own. I am learning that my God, my good, loving God, is more than enough for me, and he perfectly fills all the emptiness and all the missing pieces I feel in my life. I started this off by talking about my journey into the creative field, so I am just going to go back there for a second. I just graduated with my bachelor's in fine art this May, and I am continuing to pursue my art practice, my art business, and I am also sharing that journey with my online audience. And I don't expect it to be easy. I am way past being able to expect it to be easy, because I've already experienced a lot of difficulties, but I have given my life, my passion, and my career to God. And I know I can rest in that, and I can have peace in that, because God has shown time and time again that he can do amazing things with a surrendered life. I am still young, and there are still lots of hard lessons to learn, lots of difficulties to face, and there's also lots of room for growth as a human and as a follower of God. But I also know that because my Father in heaven promises good things to those who trust in him, I know it'll all be worth it. And I also know that he can do far, far more with me than I could ever do if I was in control.